Hello everybody, my name is Atlas, and welcome back to another video. Now, normally a lot of times what I like to do on these commentary videos is I discuss drama in the YouTube community, whether it's Dream or PewDiePie or Call Me Carson, whoever. But in the grand scheme of things, a lot of this drama is meaningless. It's frankly silly, and there are a lot more important things going on out there. So I figured today I would talk about an issue that is important to me and a real issue. Today we're going to be talking about how transgender Americans are under attack all across the United States. So in the United States, in 2021, 33 out of 50 state legislatures have introduced trans discriminatory legislation. And frankly, that is unacceptable and it needs to stop right now. But yeah, before we get into it, if you want to see more content like this in the future, consider subscribing. Leave a like on the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and stick around to the end of the video if you want to figure out if you want to learn how you can help stop this legislation. Thanks, and enjoy the video. Now, in 2021, we've seen the biggest attack on trans rights in decades. 117 anti-transgender bills have been introduced across state legislatures in the United States. And the majority of these bills would significantly impact transgender youth residing in those areas. Now, I got a couple of I got a couple of charts to show you. Okay, first we have the number of anti-transgender bills introduced in states legislatures each year. You can see that from 2015 and in 2021, the number of anti-transgender legislation has skyrocketed in 2021, which is insane. And so a lot of it, the legislation is bathroom and locker room bans and youth sports bans for transgender individuals. And the other half, the orange half, which is more concerning, is bans/restrictions on transgender medical care. I also got some maps to show you. This is a map of the United States. Not really, it's not proportional, it's just each state is an equal size. And this shows the states where anti-transgender legislation has been introduced. So those are the blue states. You can see even a lot of Democratic strongholds are introducing this legislation. That's not because, the Democrats are trying to stop transgender people. It's rather you're gonna have other people, like anyone can introduce a bill in a state legislature. Okay, so that's why you're gonna see a lot of these blue states. The orange states, however, are the ones where these bills have been signed into law. So in Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi, these states have introduced bills that are stopping transgender athletes from participating in sports consistent with their gender identities. Okay, we have another map over here, and this one is on gender-affirming healthcare for minors. Now, once again, the blue states are introduced legislation, and only we got one state here where the legislation has gone into effect. We're going to talk about Arkansas in a bit. But obviously, the fact that this is even happening is insane. Basically, that's kind of that's basically kind of the situation we're dealing with. A lot of transgender rights are under attack across the country, and I'm going to give you my stance. I assume you could have inferred this by the title of the video. I am a trans woman, okay? And I 100% support and back the LGBTQIA community, all right? And I will continue to do so. And obviously, I hate this type of legislation, it's absolutely disgusting. And it needs to stop. Both of these types of legislation are unethical. Meaning, the bans on transgender sports and locker rooms and bathrooms, and also the healthcare. Now, one of these is significantly worse, and that is the bans on gender-affirming healthcare for minors. And that's significantly bad. That's a lot worse. Why? Because I don't believe it Okay, because it is a fact. Gender affirming medical care is a human right. Okay, um, yeah, that is my stance, and hopefully it's the stance of a lot of other people too, because it's the correct stance. Um, and also, transgender affirming treatment for minors has saved a ton of lives. Um, so it is definitely dangerous that this bill actually got passed. But yeah, now I'm gonna let's first. Okay, so I talked about the gender affirming healthcare. I want to go back and talk about sports and bathrooms. Okay. Now, basically, these two issues that people are introducing this legislation for, they are non-issues. They are non-existent. They are just fabricated, issues. They don't happen. Okay. So bathrooms. That basically, legislators have been introducing bills, um, these bathroom bans and whatnot to protect women. Okay. But the thing is, with a lot of politicians, you have double standards. All right, and the people who are introducing this anti-transgender legislation to protect women are also the same exact legislators who are the ones who blame women for being raped. Okay, so clearly, double standards here, people. Like, are you trying to protect women or not? So obviously, double standard there. And also that's not a thing that happens. Trans women don't like attack women in the restrooms. That's just not a thing that happens. All right, and as far as sports goes, okay, the research shows that gender identity at birth rarely impacts performance, and if it does impact performance, it's to a minimal degree. So it's not going to do much of anything. Okay. And honestly, it's not like we've even had a huge problem with this at all, like transgender people winning over cisgender people. No, that's not a thing that's been happening. It's just people are looking for a non-existent problem because they want to implement their quote-unquote solutions. So those are complete non-issues, and these bills violate human rights and are a huge overreach of government power. Okay. And by the way, I'd like to give a disclaimer. I'm not attacking, like all conservative people, um, all of that, because the majority of conservatives they do support, um, the LGBTQ community, and that's definitely a great thing. But the thing is, a lot of what kind of happens, how we kind of get into this situation is a lot of times a lot of conservative politicians are trying to cater to their base, and so their base is that that really religious, and a lot of times homophobic parts of their base, right, and transphobic, right. So it's not like the majority of the Republican Party or conservatives like these bills. It's just that slim minority that speaks really loudly. They're trying to appease that minority. Okay, so that's kind of why this legislation is getting introduced and all that. And in situations like the one we see here, these are the kind of things that allow us to see the best and the worst of people. Okay, on the one hand, we have scummy legislators and governors introducing these bills and passing them to target transgender rights. But on the other hand, we also see so many activists and young people and just people in general who are and state legislators too. They deserve some credit, who are stepping up to stop this attack on transgender rights. In fact, we saw the governor of one of the most conservative states in the Union, which was Arkansas, actually. We saw the governor of that state actually veto one of the bills, the bill that would, block gender affirming healthcare for minors, right? So even in the most conservative state in the Union, or one of the most conservative states in the Union, where the Governor Asa Hutchinson, he was under a lot of pressure from his peers, but he still did the right thing. He vetoed the bill, and yes, the bill did get passed. It did get passed regardless, but still, takes courage to put your career on the line to protect people who can't protect themselves. So yeah, you can see the best and the worst of people in this situation. Now, to kind of wrap this all up, trans rights are human rights. I will continue to fight for the rights of the trans community and the rights of the rest of the LGBTQIA plus community. Now, you might be wondering, how can you help? Well, a lot of different ways to help. Okay, first of all, you educate yourself. Learn about the issues, learn about why transgender rights are important and why they are human rights. Secondly, you can, educate other people, inform them, let people know that this is happening, and try to educate other people, or at least try to open up the conversation with people, so that way more people hear about this and more people can try and stop it. And then finally, as with most causes, you can donate to actually, give money to these people, like the ACLU, who is suing, um, I think, the state of Arkansas, over the bill that they passed, and so they're trying to repeal that bill. And then other projects like the Trevor Project, which is a really good one that helps protect LGBTQ young people. And the links to all of those will be in the description, guys. So go ahead and click there if you need a place to get started. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing. Leave a like if you liked today's video. Leave a dislike if you disliked it. And trans rights are human rights. See ya.